I'll be going from this look to this look. This is a makeup tutorial sincerely for you, Diane. Enjoy. So you start off by moisturizing your face after washing it clean. It's important to hydrate your skin because it will feel dry after applying makeup. I will be putting on some facial lotion, applying a generous amount on my face. Then I do my upper eyelids. I first apply a white liquid lipstick as a base. I do this because if the canvas is white, the color of the eyeshadow will pop and be more vibrant. Plus, it also makes the eyelids sticky, which allows the eyeshadow to stick better. Yeah, you get it right. Anyways, you don't need to use a white liquid lipstick necessarily like I do. Any concealer that's lighter than your skin tone will do the job, I'll be using a flat brush to adequately smear out the white base. I also draw a clean line just below the brows to make it look extra sharp. Then on the inner and outer edges of my lids, I just blend it out with my finger. After putting on a base, I start applying eyeshadow. Also, by the way, I drew those lines on my lids to imitate yours, Diane. That way, I could explain easier the makeup style that would work with your eyes, since yours and mine are very different. So, anyways, you have two creases on your eyelid. One is right on your eye socket, which is an important grid for eyeshadow, while the other is just above your eyelashes, aka called the double eyelids. It's important for the eyeliner. Now for eyeshadow, the key is to draw them into the crease of your eye socket and darken up the colors the deeper they go. I first dip into the lighter eyeshadow color, a peach shade called Cone, with my typical eyeshadow brush. I just brush it along the upper crease. It doesn't have to be perfect, we'll even it out later. Just smudge it along the line into your eye socket. It's better if you spread this wider and nearer to your brows. After that, I take a brush that's smaller than the one I've previously used. Then I dip that brush into a darker shade, a brown one. I'll be using this one called Tasty. What you gotta do is draw it just below the lighter shade you've put on your lid. It's gonna be as close to the eye socket crease as possible. You're basically creating an ombre effect of lighter on top to darker shade on the bottom. Now this part is optional. You can just skip to this time of the video if you want, but I just go through this process to clean things up a bit and make the crease line more vivid. I take the white liquid I used as a base on my eyelids earlier, and I put that on the back of my hand. I pick up the liquid using a flat detail brush and carefully paint over the highest part of my eyelid, just below the crease. This creates an illusion of making your eyes look much bigger and deeper, plus it makes you appear more mature because, thicker eyelid? I don't know. I then take the smaller, the same small brush, dip it into the same darker shade, and gently go over just the outer part of my eyelid, about 1/3 from the edge. I do this because it makes the eyes look larger and farther apart from each other. I then clean up the eyeshadow by using the white liquid and drawing a clean line from the inner corner of my outer eye, dragging it diagonally about 35 degrees toward the outer tip of my eyebrow, then blending it outwards. Once the eyeshadow bit is done, I pick up a golden sparkly shade called CEO with a very small but firm brush. These can pick up metallic shades very well, so hence why I'm using it. I then apply it onto the highest part of my eyelid where the light hits most, from the inner corner of my eye to outer part of my lid, then drag it down towards my lashes. Once that's done, I do the eyeliner. Eyeliners are, they're quite hard to master, you basically draw small portions and build it up until you're satisfied. For a natural look, you never want to go thick in the first place. While drawing, try to keep it as close to your eyelashes as possible. Do not go over your double eyelid, don't go over it, that's your limit. Basically just try to keep the eyeliner between your lashes and double eyelids. The day you nail eyeliners is the day you master makeup. Even on lazy days, eyeliner alone can make you look smoking hot. Now that I've done my upper eyelids, I move on to my face. You can apply primer first, but since I'm lazy, I went straight into foundation. This part is pretty basic. I just squirt enough foundation onto your sponge or directly onto your face and stamp it out evenly. Just try to avoid doing the upper eyelids as much as possible because you don't want to ruin your hard work, right? Anyways, then you do concealer. So for me, I tend to apply it just below the eyes, around the nose, on the highest part of the chin, on the middle of the forehead, and just under the inner corner of my lips. I chose these placements because they can make my face look more angular than flat than the flat it already is. Okay, now it's time for contour and blush. For contour, you could of course use a contour stick, gel, or powder, but if you're a cheap freaking female dog like me, just save up money and use a shade from the eyeshadow palette. You know, with a big flat brush, I dip into a warm shade called Monarchy. Then, as weirdly as I may look, I pout my lips to the other side of my face and stretch out my cheek, and I drag the shade from the middle of my cheekbone to near the corner of my lips. If you think you went overboard with the contouring or got it in some areas you don't want, just take a sponge and stamp what remains on the sponge onto your cheeks till you're satisfied. I also contour my jaws to make it look more angular. It's obvious to say that the harsher you contour, the sharper you'll end up looking. If you want a more natural look, apply as subtly as possible and blend it well, build it up. For blush, like the contour, there are blush sticks, gels, and powders, being sold, but why do that when you got an eyeshadow palette that already contains a color perfect for blush? I take the same big brush I used for contour and dip into a coral mauve shade called Royal Pain, and I apply it on just above where I've contoured, from outer cheekbone to below the middle of my eye. I also put blush on the side of my forehead near the hairline to make my face look warmer. Wait. Don't forget to contour the nose if you want it to look extra sharp. I also blush my chin, for the record, You can kind of see the difference between the left side of my face against the right side. Whichever you prefer, just go for it. Just don't go too intense with the blush, because, that would give you a sunburnt effect and or make you look drunk, so. Now, to balance the face out, I contour and blush the other side. And to finish it off, I put blush on the bridge of my nose because I just think that makes me look cuter, Now that that's done, I take the same small brush I used earlier for applying the darker shade on my upper eyelid. I picked a plain chocolate brown color. Pack it as closely to the lower eyelash as possible if you don't want raccoon eyes. If you think the colors are a bit too intense or the shades got smudged out too far and is giving you raccoon eyes, like what I just did in the footage, you can always take the brightest matte eyeshadow you've got and blend that onto wherever colors you want to dull down. But if you think you've messed up bad and the white isn't helping, you can always erase the colors by putting concealer over them and start from scratch. But I don't recommend this method though, since this will consume so much of your time. But, anyways, you do you. Back to the makeup look now. To warm up the colors a bit, since the brown I used is a bit cold, I dipped into a red shade called Licorice and mixed it with the brown, keeping it close to the lower lashes. Now this method is optional, you can just skip to this time if you want. Anyways, after that, using the same brush, I dip into the previously used peach shade cone. I squint my eyes and draw below the thick fleshy part that protrudes on my lower eyelid. Yeah, I don't know what they're called, so I hope you get what I mean by looking at the footage. Anyways, I'm trying to create an illusion here that's common in East Asian makeup, which is making the eyes seem like it's constantly smiling. So once you put eyeshadow below the protruded fleshy part of the lower lid, to intensify this effect, I take the brush I used earlier for the metallic shade on my lid, dip into a pink gold sparkly eyeshadow called Beauty Sleep, and carefully go over the highest part of the protruded flesh that appears when squinting. Start from near the inner corner of your bottom eye and spread out the sparkle to the other side. You can see me showing here the comparison between the empty right side and the left side where I've added the sparkle on the protruded flesh of the lower lid. That's a mouthful to pronounce. Anyways, it makes my eyes look like they're smiling, potentially even cute and childlike. Now, time to do them brows. This is also optional, especially for you since you've already got such great brows. But for me, as you can see, since half my brows are missing, I take a brown eyeshadow with a flat, angular brush and just fill them in. Of course, you can shape your brows in whichever form, length, and thickness you want. Now, moving on to lips. I'll be showing you two methods in this footage. This one is a more quick, natural look. take any shade of red, deep pink, or orange lipstick and just put it on the inner part of your lips. Then you blend it out by dabbing your lips together. You can also use a brush or your fingers to blend it out. This is basically an easy go-to ombre lip technique. Very popular amongst East Asians, you know? Yeah. The next one I'm going to show you is a method that makes your lip look fuller. It takes more precision than the previous method, but one difference is that you can use a variety of colors for this, like a nude lip color I'm using in this video, while the previous method is limited to only shades of reds, pinks, and oranges. For this look, I'm using a liquid lipstick, which unlike the typical lipsticks, this one does not come off when dried, plus you can mix colors. I carefully draw along my lip line, you know, I think of it like painting. You can even use a small pencil-like brush if it makes things easier. Now you can leave it off with this look and stop here, but I go a little extra and put a lighter shade of liquid lipstick onto the middle of my lips on top of the one I just applied. Then I blend the two colors together and create an ombre effect. The difference between this ombre and the previous one's ombre is that this one goes light to dark from the inside of your lips, whereas the previous method is the opposite. Darker on the inside and gets lighter outside. Now that, you know, I've babbled a lot about lips, on to some final touches. So mascara is pretty straightforward. There isn't a special technique you do to apply it. I mean, there is one where you curl your lashes by heating it up and rolling it on with a toothpick, but whatever, that's too complicated. I've never even tried it. There is indeed a difference between having mascara on or not. They definitely make your lashes look fuller and longer, as you can barely see here, the left side being the one with mascara. Also, before you mention it, yeah, I only do mascara on my upper lashes because I barely got any on the bottom. Now finally, my favorite bit, highlighters. This part's optional too. They're just for extra aesthetic purposes of making your face look like it's glowing. So with my finger, I dip into the same sparkly eyeshadow I used on the protruded flesh of my lower lid, and I just pout my lips and rub it on the high cheekbones and spread residual down to the edge of my lips. I also highlight the bridge of my nose between my eyes, the top of my nose, the side of my nostrils, the chin, the cupid's bow, and finally, the middle of my lips. And that completes the look. Thank you for tolerating my babbling background. Anyways, thank you, Diane. Toodles.
Thank you for watching this, Diane. I hope this tutorial helps you. The point of all this is just for you to get the idea that makeup, you know, it's just about finding your style, you know, just doing what you want to do. You know, we live in Canada. I don't think a lot of people are going to care about how you wear your makeup. Like, I've seen people wearing clown makeup in the streets and just not caring. So just do you know? I'm just showing a portion of what I would do. And yeah, I just hope this helped a little, even if a little. If it didn't help, I'm sorry. But thank you for watching, and you know, thank you. I hope you have a nice happy new year. Toodles.